IPJ, my man. Welcome back. Jump Buckets. Buckets, I have missed you. The international break is over. Domestic club football is back, and that means European competition is also back. But first, let's check in with you. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, baby! IPJ, it feels not only so good to be back with Champions League football, it feels so good to be back with no international break. I can't tell you how bad I am at betting at the international break. I'll own up to it. I won't apologize for it, but I don't know how to bet on some of these teams anymore. I can't look at England versus Greece and justify a 2-1 Greece in my mind. It doesn't make sense, but it feels good to be back with what I consider some real footy here this afternoon.
Yeah, there were some really weird results in the international break as well. You know, I'm not going to lie. I took a total break from the international game. I didn't place any wagers. I just stepped away from the game, just taking care of the mental and making sure I was smart and being responsible. And yeah, I see you fucking betting at 2 o'clock in the morning on Japanese Division 4. I mean, where the hell do you find all these bets from? You're active as hell on Dub Club. You're giving out free plays, full slates. You're doing everything you possibly can to keep active.
Yeah, I really am. But you got to remember, IPJ, I don't have a wife and I don't have children, which means my life is pretty much sitting here and going, when's the next footy match I can bet on? Not a lot going on in the Buckets realm, but sometimes you find more consistency when you're betting on fourth division Japanese football than when you're betting on these national teams. And it can be very tricky. So I'm glad you took that break and I'm glad you were smart about it.
You've been unusually quiet though, Buckets, and it's not normal for you to be unusually quiet. It means something very active and busy is going on in your personal life. Can we have a quick update on how things are going on Buckets' love life, please?
Oh, I'll give a second for Jeff to do the big animation. Buckets Love Life kind of popping up here to where I tell everyone that your boy John Bucketsheimer, the unicorn, the blonde bombshell, is officially off the market. Ian, I have stuff. I know. I'm coming out. Coming out's not the right phrase to use here, but I'm letting everybody know on stoppage time. You can stop with the flirty DMs. You can stop with the death threats that I think might be kind of flirty. You just don't know how to express yourself. I'm officially taken. So that's what's going on right now, man.
Wow, congratulations, Buckets. Only took 2.5 years of stoppage time to finally find you in love with someone, which is absolutely wonderful. I'm very proud and very happy for you as well. Does that mean that you've deleted all of the dating apps, like obviously we previously talked about? You've basically taken yourself completely off the market. Does that also mean that the stoppage time DMs are closed officially for you?
All 171 dating apps I had downloaded have been uninstalled. No more farmers only. No more. I don't even know what these are anymore, but they're all gone, Ian. And the stoppage time DMs are closed for flirtatious advances, but are open for compliments towards IPJ's hair and myself, of course.
When are we getting to find out about the new love of your life, John Bucketimer?
I will talk to her this afternoon, actually, and see what she is and is not comfortable with discussing here on the show. I told her IPJ is going to ask, so just get ready.
Yeah, we might have to get that in writing as well, that it's okay to discuss what's going on in your love life, because we like to discuss everything that's happening in Buckets' love life. Coming up in today's show, we got a lot of action. Congratulations, Buckets. We're really proud of you. Everybody out there's happy for you as well. We got a very active betting show. Of course, we're going into the UEFA competitions. It'll be the Champions League and Europa League. I'm going to get some best bets from my man, John Bucketimer, the betting expert, the blonde bombshell, the now officially taken, unicorn of the dating scene is gone. He is off the market. He is now fully focused on his love life and the bets, of course. But we'll also talk real quickly on some breaking news that took place this past weekend in Major League Soccer. Buckets, if that's okay with you, I'm going to dive straight in.
Right into it, buddy. Let's go.
All right, this past weekend, I made a ton of money once again on Lionel Messi and Inter Miami. I'm going to throw it out there. This guy is unfucking believable, okay? New England Revolution have the points record in Major League Soccer for the regular season. Inter Miami were chasing the points record for the regular season. It is decision day in Major League Soccer, which is always an awesome watch. And of course, what happened? New England took a 2-0 lead in that game, and all of a sudden, Inter Miami were struggling. Therefore, I decided to go back into the betting apps and just wondered, what were the odds on Inter Miami on a comeback with still 60 minutes left to play, 2-0 down? Buckets, have a guess what you think the money line was for Inter Miami when they were 2-0 down.
I bet you it wasn't crazy, like plus 350 or something, plus 400.
It was plus 260, which for many people 2-0 down would be a worry. But when you've got fucking Lionel Messi sitting on the bench, who just is coming off the back of a hat trick for Argentina plus 2 assists, he's also sitting on the bench, ready to get out there and play, obviously, the game and come back. They did. They came back and they won by 6-2. Luis Suarez scored a couple of goals to make it 2-2 in the first half. It was pretty interesting. And then Messi came off the bench. And get this, Buckets, 9 seconds after he came off the bench, Lionel Messi had an assist for an assist, which of course in Major League Soccer counts as an assist. In many people's mind, that is a hockey assist. But he took 9 seconds to have an impact in the game and give Inter Miami their lead. And then, of course, went on and proceeded to score a fucking hat trick for the remainder of the game. He was plus 560 to score 2 goals when he came off the bench. Buckets, I don't know if there's any more profitable player in world football right now than Lionel Messi.
No, there's really not. And this is kind of the timing where it's a bit unfortunate, where if you've missed the Messi train, we're getting to that end of season, we're getting to playoffs and all that stuff. There's still time to bet on him, though. I really don't care what the lines are anymore. If to score is ever below like minus 200 and 2 goals is ever around that plus 200 mark, I'm probably just going to bet it right now. I actually had my cousin text me. He's like, Buckets, I'm like you. I'm so sharp. I waited for lineup, saw Messi's on the bench. I had never seen this bet before, but he said I took Luis Suarez to have the most goals in the game. Scored the first 2. He's like, Buckets, I'm a fucking genius. Like, it was plus 200. He's all over the moon. And then just silence for never said a thing again for the next 15 minutes. Messi is just unreal, man.
Never to be heard from ever again. Silence. Yes, it was pretty special. Of course, Luis Suarez and Lionel Messi both finish on 20 goals, and Lionel Messi most likely will win the MLS MVP. But the biggest talking point that came from that game wasn't the new record in Major League Soccer for points. It was, in fact, Gianni Infantino. Listen to this, Buckets. Gianni Infantino, the FIFA president, announced on Saturday that Inter Miami will receive a spot in the 2025 Club World Cup, which is a 32-team, first-of-its-kind tournament set to take place in the United States next summer. Infantino appeared out of nowhere at Inter Miami's victory ceremony on the final day of the MLS regular season after a 6-2 Miami win and Lionel Messi hat-trick off the bench to make the announcement. He also said that Miami would host the opening game of the tournament at Hard Rock Stadium, even though Inter had not qualified via any previously announced criteria. The other 31 teams include Manchester City, Real Madrid, Monterrey, Pachuca, Al Hilal, among others, qualified or will qualify on clearly defined sporting merit, mostly by winning their continental championships between the year 21 and 2024. Of course, you'll see the Seattle Sounders in there. They won, of course, the CONCACAF Champions League. I hope it's still called that, Champions Cup or whatever it's called. But they were the kings of CONCACAF, so they deserve to be in there. However, winning the Supporters' Shield is absolutely crazy that you would give a spot in the FIFA Club World Cup to Inter Miami for doing absolutely nothing but getting most points in a regular season. Because here's, Buckets, what my thought is. Who remembers the winners of the Supporters' Shield over the last 25 years or 27 years that it's been in existence? No one. No one knows. No one cares. Why? Because Major League Soccer has been battering on this drum about the fact that MLS Cup is where it's at. If you win MLS Cup, you are the kings of Major League Soccer. So now, all of a sudden, we're giving Inter Miami the opportunity to go into the FIFA Club World Cup. Buckets, it's a little confusing to me. I've got more information for you in just a minute, but what do you think about that? Inter Miami get the opportunity. They're going to host it in front of 65,000 at Hard Rock Stadium next summer. They'll do the opening game, the opening ceremony, and Messi will be there, of course, playing for Inter Miami. Your thoughts?
Ian, I just can't think of a reason why Infantino would want to have Inter Miami and Messi hosting this money, maybe, I guess, might be part of the reasoning here. If I had to, it's absolutely insanity, but it's Messi.
Money, you say?
I think it might be money's the reason. Just maybe.
Well, let me dive in a little further for you. You ask about money. The total prize money is around 2.5 billion euros, and an initial 2 billion will be distributed amongst the 32 teams that will book their plane tickets to the USA. Qualification therefore brings 50 million euros as a minimum, while there will be other results-based bonuses, and the winner will receive around 100 million euros. So Buckets, for competing in this competition, for all of the success that they've achieved in their region of the world, it doesn't matter where you come from, you will automatically get 50 million euros. Can I put that into context for you? Have a guess how much the winners of 2023 MLS Cup earned recently, Buckets. Come on.
It's 12 million.
I have no idea, but I can tell you it's not 50 fucking million. Can you have a guess of what the CONCACAF Champions League in 2023 took home? As an opinion, by the way, just as a little thought.
5 million.
300,000. And that was LAFC who took it home in 2023. I'm joking, but I'm just telling you that MLS Cup itself has been assured of a place in the CONCACAF Champions League in 23. So LAFC took home 300,000 as the tournament winners, obviously, which is unbelievable. And now all of a sudden Inter Miami get 50 million. I'm really pissed off because obviously it's a crazy tournament. There's a lot of great teams that are there on merit, and then all of a sudden Inter Miami at the last minute are decided that they are getting the opportunity to compete in this competition. And here's why I'm pissed off. If you can see all these names, look at these names. If you knew at the beginning of Major League Soccer this season that the regular season winners, the Supporters' Shield winners, for most points, were going to go to the FIFA Club World Cup and get 50 million, do you not think that all the other teams would have pushed a little bit harder to win the Supporters' Shield? No resting players. No. Every game would have been awesome. The product would have been awesome because the golden carrot would have been going to the FIFA Club World Cup. And I guarantee you it wouldn't have been Inter Miami. I'm telling you that right now. I know they've done a great job, but I guarantee you that other teams in Major League Soccer are better than Inter Miami. And I don't think that Inter Miami win MLS Cup. If they win MLS Cup this year and the Supporters' Shield, I'll say great job. They deserve to go to FIFA Club World Cup. Fantastic. Great achievement, regular season points and all. But come on, man. This is bending the rules like Beckham to get into Miami, into this competition, to be able to compete with the best in the world. And of course, it is here in the United States of America. So for me, it's a very confusing way, but it's also unfair. Buckets, your thoughts?
Just to add some perspective for our boy Jeff behind the scenes here, Columbus's crew, their 24-man compacted roster, 24 of their best, their 24-man team, their salary is worth 57 million euros. So Miami's basically getting the entirety of one of the best teams the MLS has to offer, Columbus Crew, for just participating in this competition that they had no means qualifying for. It is outrageous. It is a little bit of weird money here, but I'm frankly not surprised it happened, as disappointing as it may be. It's just what's going to happen when you have a player like Messi playing for your club, and when the tickets now cost, $1,000 to go to a single game for. It's just money.
Yeah, 300,000 for MLS Cup and 300,000 for whatever it is the CONCACAF Champions League is absolutely insane, and it's all about money. And it's obviously important for FIFA because they're looking for a TV partner right now. So far, it's not been decided as to where the TV rights will be. From what I'm hearing, there was a negotiation with Apple for the worldwide TV rights deal, which fell through because they were asking for too much money, and Apple simply said no. And I hear that money was going to be around about $1 billion, which is absolutely insane because we don't even know who's going to be able to compete in this competition and who the best players will be. We don't even know if the best players are going to be able to go to this competition. But with all of that money at stake and for the winner getting an extra 50 million, you best believe it, it's going to be a little bit more of a competitive tournament. So now all of a sudden Inter Miami get 50 million just like that, just on a whim. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And then sometimes I just don't understand football. So it tells me that FIFA are struggling sometimes with this competition as to figure out how good this competition is going to be, who's going to watch it, where's the TV rights. They needed Messi. They needed Messi to be in there because now they can sell it to South America and the rest of the world a lot easier than they did without him in the competition. But it also tells me that, yeah, there might not be as many tickets being sold and things like that. So I'm intrigued, Buckets. This is going to completely change the tournament. And in many ways, I can understand financially having Inter Miami there and having, obviously, FIFA bring him in with Messi. I can understand it now because it makes sense for everybody. And it also tells me that Major League Soccer needed this as well. Finally, Buckets, do you want to hear all the teams who are competing in this competition before I get out there? Because you can see all the badges in front of you. Do you want to know who they are?
I actually don't know who like 2 or 3 of them are. So yeah, I'd love to know.
From North and Central America, we've got Monterrey, Leon, Pachuca, all from Mexico, Seattle Sounders, and now Inter Miami, both from the United States of America. From South America, Palmeiras, Flamengo, Fluminense, all from Brazil, Boca Juniors and River Plate from Argentina, who are both struggling this year domestically. Winner of the 2024 Copa Lib will also be there. So that's the remaining place that's still up for grabs. In Europe, we've got Chelsea, Manchester City, both from England, Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, both from Spain, Bayern Munich and Borussia Dortmund. You boys will be happy with that, both from Germany, PSG from France, Inter Milan, Juventus both from Italy, Porto, Benfica from Portugal, Red Bull Salzburg from Austria. And then we have in Asia, Al Hilal from Saudi Arabia, we've got Urawa Red Diamonds from Japan, Ulsan from South Korea, and Al Ain from the UAE. In Africa, Al Ali from Egypt, Wadid Casablanca from Morocco, Esperance from Tunisia, Melody Sundowns from South Africa, and finally Auckland City from New Zealand. The tournament looks like it's going to be absolutely brilliant, Buckets. Just real quickly, out of a glance there, not knowing anything about this competition, who would you favor to be the winner?
I like that badge in the top right. I'm seeing the red, white, and blue up there. Bayern Munich, of course, Ian. I got to go with my boys.
All right, let's get into the betting for the UEFA Champions League. It is back, baby. That is it for FIFA Club World Cup, and the Champions League is back in a big way. Buckets, let's have a quick look at the updated standings as to who's going to win it all and what the futures look right now. Because to win it all, Manchester City are the favourites at plus 275, Real Madrid at plus 350, Arsenal is a drop down, and Bayern Munich is now a drop down at plus 900. Buckets, anything catch your attention there to win it all?
I just still haven't been impressed with Man City or Real Madrid enough to play those short of lines at favorites. I know that Bayern Munich had a bit of a disappointing result against Aston Villa, but I don't think that's telling of how they're going to perform in this competition. I like a sprinkle on Bayern Munich still. I actually don't hate a look at Barcelona as well. They're kind of looking, I mean, just incredible domestically. I know they have to play Bayern Munich upcoming this week, but those are two teams that I want to keep an eye on here.
We had Bayern Munich to potentially win the group stage, and all of a sudden Bayern Munich have dropped down. They were at plus 800 to begin. They went down to plus 650. They're now down to plus 900 to win the group stage. Manchester City are now the favourites to win the group stage at plus 350. Liverpool have moved up at plus 500. Real Madrid at plus 600. Arsenal plus 650. Leverkusen plus 900. And interestingly enough, Borussia Dortmund are sitting at plus 1,000. You laugh, but right now Borussia Dortmund are top of everything right now. Buckets, anything catch your attention now?
Top of everything, but they also play Real Madrid this week as well. So some very difficult
Easy.
fixtures, some very difficult fixtures for some of the German Bundesliga clubs here. I'm probably going to stay away from the league stage winner because I'm going to want to bet on Bayern Munich again here, but I don't hate Man City even at plus 350 on this one.
Let's go to the top goal scorer. Harry Kane at plus 140, Erling Haaland at plus 330, Kylian Mbappe plus 700, Mohamed Salah plus 1400, Lewandowski at plus 1600. Buckets, take it away. What's your thoughts?
Outside of the top two here, there's no value in anyone here. I think Harry Kane is still worth playing at plus 140, knowing how deep in this competition Bayern Munich will go. Same with Erling Haaland there for Manchester City. Mbappe maybe a sprinkle at plus 700, but you're hoping for penalties frequently in these games to make that happen.
Well, Harry Kane's got 4 goals as of right now, 3 of them coming from the penalty spots. You're absolutely spot on. Buckets, one of the more enjoyable ones that we like to place was who's going to finish bottom of the table, who's going to finish dead last. Slovan Bratislava at plus 160. They're standing up pretty well, Buckets. They look like they're solid for it.
Yeah, they're looking pretty good for that. And that's the team that we picked in the beginning there was Slovan Bratislava. I mean, there's nowhere else to go. Red Star Belgrade at plus 275 seems wrong to me because that is a team that is capable at home of doing some serious damage here. Just stick with Bratislava and make this one easy.
All right, let's get into it because the table is starting to get really tasty. Obviously, we showed you the futures and what they look like. Bruce Jeff will be very happy to see Borussia Dortmund top of the table, but I'm a bit surprised to see the teams that are following them. Brest are in second, Benfica are in third. We've got Aston Villa in sixth place, and that's pretty interesting because Leverkusen I thought would really struggle. They're sitting in fourth place in the table right now. Buckets, this is clearly not how we think it's going to finish out. But it's pretty impressive to see Dortmund top of the table right now. They've given themselves every opportunity to go into the top 8.
Yeah, no, they're setting themselves up well, which is what they needed to do early because they do have a couple difficult games coming up here. But it's just fun to look at a table like this. You go, where's Bayern Munich? I don't see Benfica's the top in Portugal. No Italian teams. Juventus and 7. It's fun, but it's not going to last here in the next couple months.
As you can see from that graphic right there, they go straight to the round of 16, those top 8 teams. And then we go to the knockout phase playoff games, which is really interesting. Inter obviously top there in 9th, and then we go all the way down to PSV, who are in 24th. But as you can see from this graphic, there's Bayern Munich in 15th spot and Barcelona in 16th spot. These two teams obviously are not wanting to be in this section, because what this means, if they end up between 9th and 24th, is they will go into a knockout stage playoff game where they will compete against each other. Obviously, the top 9 and then the bottom 9 of that group will eventually end up in that knockout stage at home. So I'm really intrigued, Buckets. But anything interesting catch your attention here? Some big names.
Some big names and some bigger names even in that bottom part there. Real Madrid in 17th is weird to see. PSG in 18th. We're seeing teams like Atleti in 23rd. I mean, some really big name teams who I thought would finish top 8. Again, only 2 games in, kind of already in the hot seat. And it just shows the importance of every single game in this competition, and that it doesn't make sense to rest or take things lightly. We don't get that 2-leg competition anymore in the knockout stage. There's no group stage here. You have to be going for games. I mean, you got to be going for wins here. And I want to see that from some of these bigger clubs.
Yeah, and I agree, even if you go to the elimination places, because now all of a sudden the teams that fall out of the Champions League do not go into Europa League. They get eliminated from Europe altogether. So all of these teams you are seeing right now, Buckets, will be
Oh,
competing
Milan.
just to stay in European competition. Milan are in there. They've got a big game against Club Brugge, I think, coming up. And obviously Stuttgart, Bologna. Some big names there. Leipzig is the one that's caught my attention, that's struggling so far. Anything for you?
Yeah, Leipzig's a bit of a just a tough team for me from a betting perspective. It's a team that has so much talent, and they're basically just relying on Benjamin Sesko like nothing else right now. Doing decent domestically, I think second on the table right now. But Champions League is what matters. I mean, for a team like Leipzig that really doesn't have much of a chance of winning the Bundesliga, you got to show up in the Champions League. You got to make your money here in the UCL, and you can't be starting off 0-2 if you're going to make that happen.
Milan are 4th in the Serie A right now, but they've got work to do, that's for sure. They're missing some key players. Christian Pulisic is playing incredibly well for them. Let's have a look at the games that are coming up on Tuesday. Buckets, we've got Milan against Club Brugge, Monaco against Red Star Belgrade, Arsenal against Shakhtar, Aston Villa against Bologna, Girona against Slovan Bratislava, Juventus against Stuttgart, PSG against PSV, which is an interesting one for the PSEs, and then Real Madrid against Borussia Dortmund, which is an absolute banger of a game, finishing out with Sturm Graz against Sporting. On Wednesday, we've got a cracker in Italy. It is Atalanta against Celtic. We've got Brest against Leverkusen, Atletico Madrid against Lille, Barcelona, the big one against Bayern Munich. We've got Benfica against Feyenoord, Manchester City against Sparta Prague. There goes 8 goals. Red Bull Leipzig against Liverpool, which is another massive game for Leipzig. And then Salzburg against Dinamo Zagreb, Young Boys against Inter. Young Boys currently bottom of the group. Buckets, I'm also going to point out real quickly what's happening in the Europa League before we move any further, because Europa League is very competitive. Europa League is one of those competitions that is also going to show us exactly that similar format, because at the top of the table in Europa League is Lazio, Lyon, Tottenham, Steaua Bucharest, Anderlecht, Ajax, Frankfurt, and Galatasaray. Anything catch your attention there?
I'm a little shocked at some of the clubs I'm seeing. I mean, FCSB being top 4, Anderlecht being 5th. I mean, there's some really big names in this competition, and we expect these teams to take it seriously, knowing the rewards and the money for winning Europa League. So I'm very shocked to see Lazio at top, frankly, and I'm shocked to see some of these smaller clubs playing like they're the big dogs in this competition.
Interestingly enough, in the Europa League, there is some games on Wednesday that are taking place. Braga against Bodo Glimt, and then Galatasaray are taking place against Elfsborg. Those are both very early kickoffs on Wednesday. Buckets, I'm going to put them into a category for Thursday's bet. So obviously, if you want to take a bet on a Thursday because it's Europa League, you can just call it the Europa League segment. Thursday, there's some cracking games to look forward to. As you can see, Ajax away to Karabakh, Roma against Dinamo Kiev is an interesting one as well. And then the later stage kickoffs will be interesting with Porto against Hoffenheim, Fenerbahce against Manchester United. That is Jose Mourinho going up against Manchester United, Besiktas against Lyon, and then, of course, Tottenham against Al-Azad Alkmaar at the bottom. It is time now, Buckets, to get into our best bets. You know it wouldn't be an episode of Stoppage Time if we didn't get some wagers from our betting expert, the guy who's now officially taken off the market in the dating scene. Welcome back to Buckets Hits the Big Time. In more ways than one, apparently. Buckets, I want 6 best bets from you. I'm looking for 2 best bets on Tuesday, 2 best bets on Wednesday, 2 best bets on Thursday. There is nowhere for you to hide because the people expect. So let's go to the best bets on Tuesday, beginning with your first one from the Champions League fixtures.
Ian, I would like to welcome you to a brand new segment called Buckets Plus Odds Beauties. All 6 of my wagers start with a plus symbol before the bet themselves. Champions League can be very difficult to bet, but we can also find a tremendous amount of value, especially like IPJ talked about, with how much these games matter. These teams have to be playing their starting best. We're not going to see rotated squads. We're going to know what we're getting in each and every matchup, which means I was able to go a bit deeper to find some goodies. And my first plus odds beauty is going to be Monaco versus Red Star Belgrade or Crvena Zvezda Belgrade, depending on how your book will list it. And I'm taking both teams to score, Ian, plus a same game parlay of Monaco on the money line here. Monaco are the much better side here. Monaco at home should probably score 3 or 4 or 5 goals here. But one thing that Red Star Belgrade has that makes them so competitive is they just don't give a shit. This is a team that understands that they are second on the table to finish last. They are the second favorites to finish dead last in this competition. Nobody's really looking at them, which allows them to play very free, very open, very aggressive, and really without a care in the world when they go against some of these big clubs like Monaco. Monaco has hit both teams to score and also won in 4 of their last 5 fixtures. We saw them do it against Rennes, Montpellier, Barcelona in game 1, De Havre in league play. This is a team that loves to go up 2-3 and then concede a late one. Meanwhile, Red Star Belgrade have scored in 19 of their last 20 matches across all competitions. And the only time they didn't do that was against Inter in Champions League, again, where they looked pretty good. They had almost 50% possession, 3 shots on target. They had the chances there, but just couldn't solidify. Monaco's defense is not as good as Inter, Ian. I love Monaco to win this game, but not without both teams to score hitting. That's at plus 160 for the loyal listeners.
Plus 160. That is insane numbers right there, Buckets. I love to see you getting to the plus numbers. Was slightly confused when you said plus numbers beauty. I thought you were talking about your love life. But anyway, Monaco minus Balogun. He is injured until looks like December. And having a 0-0 game at home against Lille at the weekend. Buckets, you slightly concerned by that?
I'm not really concerned. I think that was more of these teams were just looking ahead. This was Monaco saying, hey, we got a UCL matchup in a couple days. Let's lock in here. And they said, oh, shit, wait, we've got a game still. I think they kind of just missed the mark there a little bit. I think they'll be fine against Red Star.
All right, I'm looking forward to it. Let's get to your second best bet for Tuesday, please.
All right, Jeff, remember, you and I are good buddies. You and I love each other. A lot of respect coming through these two parties here. I'm going to Real Madrid versus Jeff's wonderful Borussia Dortmund. And again, plus 160 on this one, Ian. I am looking at first half draw. It's actually a bet that's kind of in favor of Jeff because I'm looking at this Real Madrid side. I'm looking at this repeat of the UCL final last season. And I'm looking at a Madrid side that loves to do jack shit for 45 minutes and then have a big second half. This is a team that is so frustrating to bet on because Real Madrid will have 90% possession with 14 shots in the first 10 minutes, and it'll be 0-0 at half, only to watch them win the game 2-0, 3-0 in the second half. This is a team that takes a bit to get started, and it's also a team that teams know how to play against. You have to play defensive against Real Madrid. Dortmund is a good side, but Dortmund cannot go on the attack here because they will get ripped to pieces by the counterattack of Vinny Jr., Kylian Mbappe, and Rodrigo. I think this could be a very slow 45 minutes where it's 0-0 at halftime. But when we take the first half draw, it gives us a bit of a safety net in case we get that crazy 1-1, 2-2, something like that. But Ian, I'm not expecting this to be a fun game to watch. I'm expecting this to be a very frustrating game to watch. And I'm expecting this game to be 0-0 at halftime for that plus 160.
Yeah, my biggest concern is that Real Madrid look like they're finally finding their gear and they're starting to just really up the ante a little bit. And Borussia Dortmund are slightly concerning, even though they're getting results, and they got a result against St. Pauli on Friday, which was a banger of a game. But at the same time, it's just a bit slow right now, Dortmund. And maybe you're right. Maybe they go defensive minded for that first 45 minutes to keep in the game. But I just don't know if you can stop Real Madrid from scoring goals. That's the biggest concern I have with that one, Buckets. But I do think that Real Madrid are the favourites going into that game, clearly for obvious reasons as well. But Nuri Sahin's got his work cut out with Dortmund because they're still quite far away from being the team that they need to be to compete, even at the top of the Bundesliga. They've got work to do, that's for sure. All right, let's go to Wednesday. Obviously, the interesting games that are taking place on Wednesday in the Champions League, I'm sure have caught your attention. What you got?
Yeah, Wednesday's a very fun one for me because it's a game that just, or it's a game, it's a day that just lets me bet on goals here. I'm looking at the matchup between Atalanta and the Scottish boys, Celtic FC here, and I absolutely love just a goal fiesta in this one. Celtic are playing what I would describe as very fun, very exciting, very sexy football, because Celtic don't really care who they play against. They're going to go for 3 or 4 or 5 goals. And Atalanta is a good defensive team. They have not conceded yet in Champions League, but I think that ends against the Celtic side. I'm going with both teams to score and over 2.5 goals in this one at plus 100. I don't care who wins. I'm guessing it'll probably be Atalanta, but that doesn't matter for my bet. Atalanta goes up 2-0 in the first half. Celtic goes, all right, let's just say F it and go for it. This game ends up being a 3-2 thriller. Amazing. That's incredible for me. But this Atalanta team tends to struggle against teams that are good on the counterattack. And Celtic, for being a Scottish side, Ian, are surprisingly good right now with the team they have, with players like Furuhashi. This is a team that can rip you apart if given that single opportunity. I think Celtic might score 2 here personally, but give me both teams to score and over 2.5 at plus 100 anytime you see Celtic play.
Love the play. Obviously, I want to see Celtic score a goal, but I still don't think they've got the quality to compete with Atalanta. Atalanta are a good team. So I'm thinking goals as well. Maybe a 3-1, maybe a 3-2 scoreline. So I'm liking that, Buckets. If we get there, you hit your bet. What's your next best bet for Wednesday?
We had to go to this one. It's a law. If you see Barcelona and Bayern Munich playing as a Bayern Munich or Barcelona supporter, you have to bet on that wager. And I think there's going to be a ton of goals here. Let me start with that. But I'm not betting on goals. I'm taking Bayern Munich draw no bet here, Ian. That is plus 110. I don't think I've ever seen Bayern Munich plus odds for a draw no bet. And I get why they are. Barcelona looks incredible right now. Lewandowski is on an absolute rampage this season. Lamine Yamal, of course, is looking incredible. Rafinha, this whole team is stacked. But there's a little something called football heritage when you bet on a matchup like this. This is a game where historically Bayern Munich have beat the brakes off this Barcelona side mercilessly over the past couple of years. 6 straight wins in the head-to-head for Bayern Munich. And I'm going to take a second to read off those score lines. 3-0 Bayern Munich, 2-0 Bayern Munich, 3-0 Bayern Munich, 3-0 Bayern Munich, 8-2 Bayern Munich, 3-2 Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich have not lost to Barcelona since 2015. I know, again, it's a different roster, obviously, than what we saw back then. I know that Bayern Munich are coming off a bizarre loss to Aston Villa in Champions League, so this is new territory, but I think the books are overreacting. Worst case scenario, Bayern Munich are drawing this 2-2, 3-3 and getting a push on our wager. But anytime you get Bayern Munich draw no bet at plus odds, it is a no-brainer. Slap 2 units on that and don't even think twice.
Buckets, the team I'm just looking at it when Barcelona last beat them in 2015 from Barcelona was insane. Luis Suarez, Lionel Messi, and Neymar up top, which is absolutely ridiculous. I absolutely love it. And guess who played in midfield for Bayern Munich that day in 2015? Xabi Alonso played in midfield for Bayern Munich that day. Lewandowski was, of course, up top. And, of course, now he will be facing them with Barcelona and Hansi Flick on the sidelines. So, listen, I love this game. I think it's just brilliant. You can go any way you want in this game. Barcelona are playing some really good football this year. They've got a lot of youngsters, but Bayern Munich are getting better and better under company, and especially when you've got the red-hot golden boot leader right now, you have every opportunity of Harry Kane stepping up and scoring a few goals like he did at the weekend in the second half. Buckets, very, very good from Wednesday, and I'm glad that you went to that Bayern Munich game because I really wanted to see that. Now, Thursday is interesting because we do have the Europa League games. Where are you going here, though? This is going to be difficult because there's a lot of games and a lot of storylines. Can't hear you. We'd like you to unmute yourself, which would be great.
Let me try this again. Rewind. Some great games on Thursday, IPJ. I'm very excited for it because I was still able to find plus odds here. And I'm going to start with the matchup between EPL side, Tottenham Hotspurs, hosting AZ Alkmaar from the Dutch Eredivisie. 2 teams that just love them some goals here. We got Troy Parrott on fire right now for AZ Alkmaar. We've got Tottenham doing the Tottenham thing. I don't really watch them that much because they stress me out. But Tottenham is good for a couple things here, Ian. They're good for goals. My word, are they scoring goals this season? And they're good for lackluster, aka shitty defenses at the same time here. I love both teams to score, parlayed with over 2.5 to get us to that plus 100 that I love so much because this Tottenham side will score 3 or 4 goals in this matchup. 4-1 against West Ham, 3-2 loss to Brighton, 2-1 against Ferencváros. This is just a team that loves to score goals and doesn't really play defense. And they're going against a defense side that is frankly better than people give them credit for. People think of the Dutch Eredivisie, they go PSV, Ajax, Feyenoord, done. AZ Alkmaar is a good enough side to score one, if not two goals against this Tottenham side here, Ian. And I think that BTTS and over 2.5 is a no-brainer in this one at plus 100.
Yeah, pretty interesting results. If you look at the most recent results for AZ Alkmaar, they've been struggling for victories. They've lost the previous 4 games. They lost against PSV Eindhoven at the weekend by 2-1. They lost against Fortuna Sittard 1-0. They lost against Athletic Club in Europa League 2-0. And they lost against FC Utrecht at home by 2-1. So they are conceding a ton of goals, and especially with Tottenham, they may concede 3 or 4 goals in this game, but I do think that they get a goal as well. I do love your bet there. Buckets, let's go to your second one.
Second one is a bit of a surprising one for me, Ian, because when I looked at the top of the Europa League table, I did not expect to see who I see. It is Lazio, who have won 2 matches and have outscored their opponents 7-1. This Lazio team is looking kind of scary right now because they're not playing awful teams either. They beat Nice 4-1 and they beat Dynamo Kiev 3-0. This is a team that even without our boy Chiro the Hero is looking fantastic, and they're traveling to play a defense side who I am not sold on. This defense side, also playing the Dutch Eredivisie, is currently 6th. This is a team that is good at scoring goals. They've scored 16 goals in their 9 opening matches, but again, just defensively aren't quite up to snuff, I think is the phrase. Maybe not, it doesn't matter. They conceded twice to Valvich over the weekend. They conceded twice to Feyenoord. This is a team that tends to concede when they get a little stressed out. They get in tough, close matches. Things can get a bit hairy. And this Lazio team right now somehow is scoring for fun. So the fact that I can get Lazio to score 2 goals in this over 1.5 team total at plus 130, Ian, I know they're on the road. I know Twente wants points here, so they might play defensively. I just don't think it matters right now. This Lazio team is scoring for fun, and they're going to keep doing it here. Not the best in Serie A play right now, but even in Serie A play, 14 goals in 8 matches. This is a team that is playing offensively. They're going for goals, and I love to bet on teams like this, again, especially with odds of plus 130.
Yeah, struggled obviously the weekend against Juventus because they had a 24-minute red card in that game, and Lazio went down by 1-0, so therefore that's why they struggle. But at the same time, the previous results, 2-1 against Empoli, 4-1 against Nice, 3-2 against Torino, 3-0 against Dynamo Kiev. I mean, they're scoring goals, and one of the reasons why they're scoring goals is Valentin Tati Castellanos, obviously from NYCFC, who is a big friend of mine, and he's a fantastic player. He's playing really good football right now with 3 goals in the campaign. And then we've also got Boulaye Dia, who came in, I think it was Salernitana, I think he came. He's on loan from. But 3 goals from him as well. He got taken off, obviously, at the weekend because they had that player sent off. So they got goals in their ranks. With Baroni now in charge of the club, they're a dangerous team. Buckets, there is your best bets for UEFA competition this week, my guy. A reminder to everybody out there, we're going to be doing our very, very best to make sure that you have all of the content around social media as well coming your way. We'll be active on TikTok and Instagram, on YouTube Shorts. Producer Jeff has been awesome on the shorts and making sure that we put clips out there. So you will see bets placed on there from our show. You will also see some content from Hot Coco. You'll see myself on Instagram and TikTok as much as I possibly can. And Buckets, of course, is pretty much everywhere. Very, very active on X, formerly known as Twitter as well. Buckets, that was a great show, man. You've got a smile on your face. You look like you've released yourself multiple times over the last 4 weeks. You look happy.
I, I, I don't know how to respond to the released myself multiple times. I am happy. I'll just say that. I'm happy right now.
You have no idea what that means. That
No,
could have meant anything.
I know exactly what that means. Don't put that on me. I'm happy, Ian, and that's what matters, and I'm glad to be back with you.
I appreciate you, brother. I'm very happy to see you happy. Of course, when you're happy, the loyal listeners are happy as well. UEFA competition is back, everybody. The most important rule to remember here is to bet responsibly. These games and the plus numbers, the buckets just provided for you all are just information. If you want to go place those wagers, please feel free to do so. If you want to take the information that we share with you and create your own bet, we love that as well. We want everyone to win. That's why we're here on Stoppage Time, is to make sure that you all win. You all make money. Take our information, use what you will from that information, and create your own plays. But if you want to take our plays, I can only imagine that Buckets has a formula to have success. Now, Buckets, before we came on air, you said to me you didn't need to hit all 6 of them to have profit. What is the goal here from the 6 that you gave out?
Well, the goal is still going to be that 6-0 clean sweep that we always push for. But the reason I did so many plus odds wagers here was even if we go 3-3 on some pretty tricky matches, Ian, we'll still find profit because every single wager is at least 2 odds on this one.
Love it. Love the formula. Love the style. Definitely different. Plus odds for every play from John Bucketimer. I don't think I've heard that one before. Everybody out there, make sure you do your best to bet responsibly, have fun, make sure you enjoy this week. The Champions League is back, Europa League is back, and so is me and Bucket. Stoppage time is back here for you. Everybody out there, please bet responsibly and make sure you absolutely have it!